Welcome back. Just me today. Solo episode. As you can see from the title of this video, this is a message to men in their 20s, a very relevant conversation for men in their teens. And of course, there's still a lot of valuable information that women will take out of this as well. But as a 24-year-old myself, I really want to help guide and navigate, I guess, people that are not far from where I am, like they're going through those years that I have recently gone through, so I can hopefully give some advice and some guidance around that. I'd like to humbly think that I am very mature in my approach to life, and maybe my pursuit of where I'm going with some things is a little bit further, a little bit different to, I guess, the norm. It's definitely different to the norm, and so I want to try and share that and inspire and hope to assist in some of those cases as well. So the common topic of being in your 20s, enjoy your 20s, live it up, whatever. I completely, wholly, solely do agree that you need to enjoy and live up your 20s, but I think we need to reframe and that definition of what the living up your 20s actually is. So for me, living up my 20s and the later in my teens, I guess you could say, living up the I left school, but yeah, I'm rambling. Living up the 20s of your, living up your 20s. It doesn't have to mean partying, drinking, just going all out, one night stands, drugs, all these sort of things, or even just, it doesn't have to mean like traveling the world, doing all these sort of things as well. Is for me, living up my 20s is fucking just going out there, really pursuing what I want to pursue. At first, it was pursuing sport. It was javelin. That's what I really thought I was going to pursue. And then, you come to the reality that that's not going to happen for me anymore. And I was very accepting of that, because then business and personal training, podcasts, all these other sort of things started to come into my life. And so I wanted to go a little bit more all in on those. And those decisions do change over time. So that's fine. But all I've known is that I want my 20s to be my grind time. I want my 20s to be my put my head down and do the work time, skill stack, do all those sort of things, and everything we'll dive into later in this episode, where we'll continue to go in a little bit deeper. But I think reframing that, because for me, that is enjoyable. Living up my 20s is doing that. I really enjoy that. So for me, the pursuit of growth, the pursuit of doing those things is living up my 20s. And because I know what I want my life to look like in the future, I know that's what I need to do now. And I don't want to be the guy that then starts in their 30s and goes, oh, your 30s is the new 20s, just because that's an excuse for why I did absolutely fuck all for 10 years and I just wasted my life away. So you can enjoy, you can live that life. And sure, there's plenty of people that would have turned things around in their 30s, turned things around in their 40s. It's not to say those things aren't too late. But if you're in a position to do that, why not just do it now? And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean hustle. That doesn't mean grind isn't enjoyable, because trust me, I really do enjoy it. I still go out and play golf on a Sunday, but I work Monday to Saturday for like 9 to 12 hours every day. And on a Sunday, I'll do 2 or 3 hours of work as well before I go out and play golf, after I play golf. So it's a round the clock thing, but I really enjoy that. And, some people say, oh, that's obsessive, that's this, that's that. It's like, well, that's your life. You do you, but I'm going to do me, because that's what I really enjoy. And I think in your 20s, you need to really leverage the ability to take risks. And this is a common one from guests I've talked to, but also from my PT clients. A lot of my clients are business owners, or they're retired from business and all these sort of things as well. I'm very lucky to be in circles with those people. Is that your 20s, like right now, I have no one relying on me. Don't have kids. I don't have a dog. I don't have a partner. I don't have any of these things. Now, that's not to say that you can't have a partner or a dog or whatever it may be, but I don't have a mortgage. I don't have any debt. I've got nothing. So I have the ability to take the most fucking obnoxious amount of risk right now, because if it goes terribly wrong, I'll be perfectly fucking fine. Now, that is me. I am in a very privileged position. I completely understand that, because I have a family that I can, and parents that I can go live with, which I have done. And, I'm back living at home, and that's fine. Like, because I'm trying to leverage my 20s and really accelerate my growth there as well. The skill stacking, all those sort of things. So put your ego in the back pocket. Don't go out and fucking buy the fancy new car and get a loan for a car you cannot afford just to impress people that really don't give a fuck. All right. Invest in yourself. Leverage yourself in your 20s. Take those big risks now while no one relies on you. And while you don't have a mortgage, that's a big one. Everyone finishes school and they're in such a rush to get a mortgage. And a really powerful conversation I had with Oscar Ledlin on commercial property. He's in business with Adrian Portelli, Troy Williams, also known as Troy Candy. They've got G Up. He's got his property, and they've got a lot going on there. A lot of you guys may know Adrian through LMCT Plus. He does all the big giveaways. Guy is fucking smoking things. I think he's a billionaire by now, smashing it around on his Lamborghini yacht. But what bringing it back, what Oscar said to me, is he maybe I think he owns like almost 30 properties or something like that, but he's still renting. And it's because he didn't want to get tied down by location. He wanted to be able to have his funds there to be used for his business, which would definitely create more wealth and more money for him in the future than going out buying a mortgage and then hesitating to take the risks because you're bound by this mortgage. I'm not saying that buying a house is a bad idea. I'm not saying that you can't start in your investment portfolio at a young age, whatever. I'm also not saying I fucking have all the answers. This is just my regurgitation of the things I've learned from these people. But don't rush into that decision, because just because you can post your fucking Instagram story or put something on Instagram about, I bought a house, congratulations, but at what cost? You have to ask yourself this question over everything you do in your life: is at what cost? What are the pros? What are the cons? And then reevaluate your decision based on there. For me, I have been in a position where I could go, I want to buy a property, I want to buy a home, I want to do this. But I decided that I would rather put those funds towards my business while I'm in the area of part of my life that I can take the biggest amount of risk, because the property won't disappear. There will always be stuff out there. Now, someone will say, yeah, but you missed the opportunity for it to go up in value, Yes, but my risk for business, that won't always be there. If I fucking eventually have 2 kids or whatever it may be, my appetite for risk will definitely go down. There's no doubt about it, because you want to provide for your kids or whatever it may be, or, everything in life changes. So right now, that is the best thing for me. So I think don't rush into the decision of buying a property, especially buying a home. Maybe a little bit different conversation if you're seeing it as an investment. And I guess this conversation, once again, has so much nuance. Like, if you don't ever want to run a business, maybe just go out there and start investing your money in property, investing in shares, whatever. I don't know. Once again, no financial advice, just a brain dump, just a thought process, because you just don't want to tie yourself down to something that is going to mean you don't take the risks with that business or whatever it may be. Or, maybe you want to move states, or even if it's not a business, even if it's a fucking job, but you get a job opportunity interstate, or even a job opportunity in the same state, but it's on the other side of the state, and you turn it down because it's not near where you live, because you bought that house and you're tied by that mortgage, and therefore you miss an amazing opportunity. So I think just think a little bit more about the long term and the other things that are at play when going into a big decision, such as a mortgage or another big, whatever the fucking decision is. All right. Now, when it comes to things like masculinity, this is a fucking edgy one these days, which I don't think it should be. I think it should be a really easy conversation for us to have in this modern world, but it seems to be a bit of a topic. Slamming the word toxic in front of masculinity, I think, is very dangerous, because at the end of the day, the things that get slammed in with toxic masculinity, or the things that are actually toxic, well, that's not masculine. Don't put the two terms together, because masculine is fucking powerful. Masculine is really, really good. Masculine is not toxic. And I think that's where those terms have come and got a bit, the gray area. It's not so black and white, where I think it could be a little bit more. And it's become very blurred lines, where if you want to be the man of the household and you want to provide, you want to do this, and you want to have, I guess, I don't know, whatever it may be. We've all heard something called toxic. I'm like, it's likely either 1, you're fucking exaggerating and it's not toxic, or 2, that's not masculine, therefore it's not toxic masculinity. It's just someone being a fuckwit. And there's a big difference. Like, you're not whether if someone's a woman and they're being toxic or being a dickhead, that's not toxic femininity or whatever it may be. That's just them being a dickhead. Same, if a bloke is being a dickhead, that's not toxic masculinity. He's just being a dickhead. And I think so let's try and disconnect those two things, because I think it's really discouraging people to step into being masculine. And we need to just get better at helping people understand what being a truly masculine man is, rather than just bombarding people saying toxic this, toxic masculinity, you're being a this. Well, educate then. Don't just fucking point fingers. Help people, because it does not help anyone saying you're being toxic masculinity is what you're displaying right now. And you're not helping them. Help guide people better. And that's what I hope we can have with this conversation here. And so but before we dive into this a little bit more, 2 books that I would really recommend that people read, and they're very, very easy reads. The Way of the Superior Man by David Dieter. That's an absolute banger book. I've just finished it. It talks about masculine and feminine energy and the importance of the two, and why, we have both, but why, in terms of attractiveness to your partner, why stepping into your masculinity is so important. That, maybe in the modern world, it's very easy for even I sometimes believe that being masculine, I've been led to believe that, oh, that's a bad thing. That's a little bit controlling. That's a little this, a little that. And I think this book really portrays it in a really, really good, easy, digestible way to understand, where you go, oh, that's what it means to be the one that leads and makes decision. Oh, and how you can approach it a little bit better. So that's really good. Number 2 is The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Just put this on your fucking breakfast counter on your table, and every morning just read 1 page. I am a big fan of the stoicism mindset, where it's kind of like you control your life. It's on you regardless of the situation you're in. So they're 2 banging books before we dive into a little bit deeper here. But one thing I want you to always keep in mind, and this is something that I do every single day, or at least I try to. Obviously, it's not perfect every single day, but I want to become the man that my dream partner would want to be with, because it's very easy to be like, I want to be with that person. It's like, do you actually deserve to be with that person? Have you earned the right to be with that person, and vice versa? So if your standards are up here, that's fine, but you better fucking bring what you bring to the table up to the same level, or absolutely try and crush it through the ceiling. And that's what the common theme here. And, maybe this is one of that fucking, I want to go in finance, 6'5", whatever, blue eyes, whatever, that sort of shit comes from. Say on the female side of things is, cool, you can want that, but what do you bring to the table? Because that guy isn't going to go for someone that's just like, I just deserve that. Why? Because I do. No, we don't just deserve things. You have to earn things, whether that's relationships, job, business success, sporting success. Fucking LeBron James didn't just get given what he had. He had to earn it. Sure, he was born with some genetic advantages. That's no fucking lie, okay? But there's plenty of people that are just as tall as him, probably just as athletic as him from a young age, that didn't fucking make it because they didn't earn it. They didn't do the work. So that's what you need to do in sport, business, relationships, just in life in general. You have to earn it. So bringing it back to being a bloke is, if you're a young man, is go out there and become the man that your dream partner would actually want to become. Become the man that your dream partner would actually want to be with. And I think I've heard that first from Andrew Tate. Someone's going to get their knickers in a knot that I like to listen to Andrew Tate. But I think as long as you have your head half screwed on, you can differentiate between the shit that he says that you go, mate, settle down, that's just for clips, or it's been taken out of context, because short form content is the king of taking things out of context. And so if you have half the brain screwed on, then you're probably going to be able to decipher that and know the really good things that he says. And that was one of them, where you have to become the man that your dream partner would actually want to be with. And that could be from a financial point of view, it could be from a fitness point of view, a mindset point of view, spirituality point of view, whatever it may be. It's a whole encompassing person. And then not necessarily steering away, and then on that journey, maybe you're not there just yet, but not selling yourself short either. It's not going to be easy to get to become that person. Now, that's not to say you don't have value until you get to be that person, or you don't deserve some form of love or whatever it may be. And I think that's where we need to differentiate a little bit in there as well, is that you could still be with someone, and that could be your dream partner still, but it's the mindset, it's the pursuit, it's showing that you're trying to become that. That is the powerful thing. So obviously you're not going to be a fucking millionaire that's jacked and this and that and whatever at 21. Despite some dickheads on the internet will try and tell you that is the case, it's very, very unlikely. also doesn't mean you can't be with your dream partner from 21 and build together. That can also happen as well. And that brings us to my 3 focus points in my life. So we've just said, I want to become the man that my future partner would want to be with, or that I need to earn my future partner, I guess, as you could say, where I'm at right now. Fitness, finance, family / friends. They are my key focus points in life. If I can't put them in a high priority into one of those sections, it is not a priority in my life, and it has to go. It's as simple as that, because I am trying to eliminate distractions. The more you can eliminate distractions, the faster you're going to get to where you want to be. Okay, so let's run through this list. But first things first, you're not fucking perfect. Stop lying to yourself. So I think when it comes to fitness and family, all these sort of things, especially fitness, like, let's rewind a little bit. Let's come back to the fitness, finance, family, and friends. You're not perfect. Stop lying to yourself is something I think in this world of self-love, self-acceptance, body positivity, whatever you want to call it, while those things are really, really powerful, don't be misguided and blinded by the fact that you're actually not perfect. And there are things you can do to grow and change, just like we said, to become that person your partner would want to be with. So sure, love yourself, be kind to yourself, be proud of yourself, do all those things, but also accept you're not perfect, and don't be delusional, because if you, in that context, we'll come back to why being delusional can be a good thing later, but you can want to grow, you can want to change, you're never perfect. Seek constant growth, but be proud and be content and love. You can still love yourself on that journey as well. So just keep that in mind. Fitness. Now, we're talking fitness external to your health. Obviously, we all know fitness is really, really important. Health is really, really important for all aspects of your life. And for me, one of the biggest things, luckily growing up, Dad was a PE teacher and a strength and conditioning coach. My sister has played professional soccer and played for Australia. My mum was massively into her fitness, and she was a high-level netballer in her day. And fitness in my family and health has been a massive, massive thing. So I'm very blessed that that's something I've had forever. And I always, always, always remind myself that nothing in my life is really, really worth it if I have to fucking massively, massively negatively affect my health and my fitness. So if that means building the business that I really, really want to have and whatever, but if that's at the cost of me never sleeping, eating shit food, not training, not taking care of myself, it's not fucking worth it. It really is not. The challenge is obviously trying to get yourself in a position where you can have that business, have the health, have the fitness, have the relationships, have all those things as well. That is the challenge, and that's the thing you're trying to navigate. Not necessarily balance them side by side, but navigate how to make them all work hand in hand. And so external to health, fitness, if you go to the gym or you do jiu-jitsu, which is one thing I know Jocko Willink is massive on this, and recently I've done jiu-jitsu now for 6 weeks, and I can say my confidence has increased massively. My ability, my discipline has increased as well. So all these sort of things is I'm going to become one of those guys that fucking wanks off jiu-jitsu and says that you should do it because I think it's actually really powerful. And there's no doubt I will be making my kids do it when they are younger for so many reasons. Whether it's the discipline, so if you're lacking discipline, go do jiu-jitsu. If you need to be pulled into line, go do jiu-jitsu. But also the respect thing. I'm a white belt. I walk in there, I'm not the bee's knees. I am the bottom of the barrel. I walk in there, I line up at the back, all the other colored belts are in front of me, and there's mutual respect for that. And it's a really, really good place and a really good environment. But external to that, working on yourself in the gym, building a body you are proud of. It is okay to want to improve your body. It is okay to want to look like the fucking Greek god. Now, let's be a little realistic with time frames maybe on some of these things, because building muscle takes time, all that, building up strength, everything, that takes time. But if you are consistent with it, there's no reason why you can't build a very, very, very good body that you are very proud of. And what that does is when you walk into a room, you walk in with more confidence. It's not to say I'm fucking better than everyone, but if you're proud of what you look like, you're proud, and as a result, you feel better, because if you're taking care of your fitness, you're exercising, you're doing those things, regardless of even what you look like, you're already starting to feel better because of that. But looking a certain way and being proud of what you look like in the mirror, that's okay to have that goal. You don't want your whole life to revolve around that and be purely absorbed and controlled by that, like a fucking fitness influencer might be, because that is literally their life. Like what we're saying here, fitness is an aspect of your life. It is not your whole life. It's simply a part of it, but it's a big part of it. And so being proud of yourself and build that body, whether that's gym, whether that's jiu-jitsu, whether that's going for a run, whatever it may be. For me, it's gym and it's jiu-jitsu. And then, I wouldn't know if I call it fitness, but I guess golf for me adds that extra layer again, where I'm just out there, and it's a very mentally challenging sport, not so physically challenging. Maybe some people find it physically challenging, but after doing the sports I've done over my life, I find it physically quite easy. Mentally, very hard. 4 hours, you're out there battling your mindset. And so there's another layer. Like it's just finding what works for you. Maybe that's a social sport, social netball, social touch football, social basketball, social volleyball. I don't know. Find something, because that way you also get that social connection, which is so important for our mental health. You might meet the friends that the point here we're making. Your friends is a big part of these core pillars of my life. Maybe that's where you meet your long-term friends and find your circle, because you may not have that just yet. So keep chasing that. Then we have finances. Now, this doesn't mean try and become a millionaire by the age of 23. Now, maybe maybe you can have the pursuit of wanting to become a millionaire or whatever, but I think even that alone will come back to why that's not necessarily a great goal in terms of the mindset and the approach that you would then have to that. But also, why limit yourself to being a millionaire? Why not just want to build something even bigger than that? Like you could build bigger than that. That's okay. But regardless of how big you could then build it, is if you're so focused on only money, well, now we're not focused on mastery. And we've talked about this with Ethan Dominikovich, really good mate of mine. He's a bow hunter. He's building a massive fucking yerba mate canned drink business at the moment. He's absolutely going to be crushing it. And I can't wait to see some of that stuff come out into the market soon and get a little taste test. But regardless, is that I've absolutely lost my train of thought. Let's be perfectly honest here. In that, so your finances, it's not about trying to become the millionaire. It's mastery. And so Mastery, the book by Robert Greene. Now, I've not actually read it yet, but through talking with Ethan, that's something that he said. That book resonates a lot with my personality and how I'm approaching things. So it's the fact that you need to build and become the person, once again, very similar theme, become the person that would be able to become a millionaire. Don't aim to become a millionaire. So what that means is you're going to have to stack skills, you're going to invest in education, and you're going to grow your brain. Your brain is a muscle. Expand it, get better. Read books, listen to podcasts, but most of all, take fucking action. Do something. My dad and my favorite quote, winning thoughts, winning talk, winning action. It doesn't matter if you do the first two without the last one. And I'll be honest, the last one, you could do the last one without really needing to do the other two, and you still make much greater progress, because if something is not actioned, it means fuck all. It's useless until you take action upon that thing. So read lots, listen to this podcast, listen to other podcasts. I'm not going to be offended. As long as you're getting that, stack your skills, stack your knowledge, increase, go try things, and learn from lots of other people. Be naive, be a sponge. Just fucking learn. And then action every day. It grinds my gears to see what people aren't willing to do, I guess. And so I'm not trying to stand on a fucking high horse here, but I started posting content online when I was 17 in year 11. I started to post some stuff about my gym, my javelin, my training. Got fucking laughed at, all that sort of stuff. Who really cares? Couldn't care less anymore. But here I am at 24, still doing it. Now, since I started working as a PT, which is 4 years now, and then even before that, I was working in a warehouse. But let's just, and in the warehouse, I was still posting content. I'd go home from my warehouse job and I'd film content at the gym. I'd film YouTube videos. I'd do all these things. I'm skill stacking. nothing really came of it, but I'm continuing to find that the skills I learned then are helping me when I started up the podcast. They're helping me with my business, all these sort of things. They do help massively. So even if you don't see the great success right then, those skills are still helpful. That knowledge is still very, very helpful. But in the last 4 years, I have worked, let's call it 4 to 6 hours, probably more than that, 4 to 8. All right, rewind. In the last 4 years, since PT, I've PT'd in the morning from about 6 o'clock in the morning to about 12 p.m. I never really did evening sessions. Then in the afternoon, I would train and I would work for 4 to 8 hours, depending on how much I needed to do, making no money. I've done that for 4 years. I started to see a little bit of success. I started to see a little bit of a return through online coaching, made a couple of $100 a week, nothing major after a couple of years of doing that. So realistically, then in the whole week, I was making content, I was doing that. I was probably working for, fucking $5 an hour at that rate for the return that I was actually getting from the online coaching, if that. To this day, still, the podcast, I have gone interstate 3 times now, probably spent $1,500 on each trip, made no return on that investment in terms of a monetary point of view, but the connections and the growth and the stuff that I'm able to help, the skills, all those sort of things, I can't put a price tag on that. And I'm still today now with my business. I work every afternoon. I work all day Saturday. I work on the Sundays, and I don't make $1 off of it. But it's about mastery, because I'm building the person, I'm building the character. I guess if you look at it in like a video game context, I am building the character in the game of life that I need to be to have the successful business, to have the successful podcast, to have the successful body, to have the successful relationship. That is what your 20s is really, really about, is building the skill, building the character, forming yourself, all right, leveling yourself up. And you'll continue to do that forever, but this is the fucking time to really knuckle down and accept you don't have to have large, massive monetary returns on those things. You just got to be able to eat shit. And so it's very easy, to look on the outside and be like, oh, Jordan's doing all this content. He must make some money off of it, surely. No, I make fuck all money online. I don't really make any money. All my income comes from PT, and pretty well every single dollar outside of living expenses goes straight into my business. I don't really make enormous amounts, if any, money at the moment, because I'm such in a reinvestment phase of my life, which comes to the point that save money now. So when you do find that thing that you want to knuckle down in, whether it's business, whether it's property, whatever it may be, that you have the cash there pretty well ready to go. So this was something that I was very lucky that I did. I've skill stacked, I've saved hard, I don't spend much money, I don't have a car that I can't fucking afford. I have an ugly gold car that's probably worth about $1,500 that gets me from A to B, and I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't party, I don't go to the casino, I don't do all these things and throw my money away on stupid shit like eating out 5 times a week. And so I save. That allowed me to have savings. So when I wanted to start the app, I could put that money into the development with limited hesitation, because I'm in the risk part of my life. I don't mind going all in and potentially losing it all from a monetary point of view, but my brain still functions. So I'll never lose that. I'll never lose it all while my brain is still working in the way it is, because I still have the skills, the knowledge, and like I said, the character that has the ability to do everything I've done over and over again and continue to build. So that I think is very helpful. Now on the topic there of limiting drinking, alcohol is such a fucking waste of money. It's also a waste of time, and it also is a waste of friendships. Let me talk about this. I don't mind if my friends want to drink, but I will not go out and drink with them. If they want to spend time with me, it will not be at a bar, it will not be at a pub, it will not be around a dinner table just drinking for no fucking reason. We will go for coffee, we'll go for a walk, we'll go to the gym, we'll play golf, whatever it may be. That's how I spend time with my friends. When I stopped drinking, I quote unquote lost friends, I guess, lost connections. But what also happened with a lot of those friendships is they turned into just different friendships. It's because the people I was hanging out with in those situations maybe went, 2 secs. Need some water. Is that those friends that realize that, oh, we can hang out in other situations and other circumstances and we can enjoy life that way. That's okay. Now, if there's friends that don't want to do that, sure, push them to the side and let them slide. that's fine. Because I know where I'm going. I know that my trajectory is not aligned with them, and that's good. But if you go on a night out, especially as a bloke, because no one's buying you free drinks on a night. If anything, you're buying a chick free drinks, and not free for you, free for her, and it's costing you even more. This is low. If you spend $100 every night you go out, because you think Uber entry, if it's into a nightclub, if it's a bar, you buy I don't know, fucking 6 or plus drinks, whatever, I don't know. $100 is generous. If you go out once a week, that's $5,200 a year. $5,000. Let's say you spend $200 a week. That's $10,500 a year you've spent on drinking. So now we're just talking about how much of a waste of money it is. Then on the flip side, it's not just the 6 hours that you're out there drinking that you could have been doing other things or socializing in a different way. It's also the day after where you feel like shit, therefore you're unproductive, you don't meal prep, and you don't go to the gym. Then chances are it's also the day after that. You go back to work on a Monday and you're still feeling a little bit shit, whatever. So you've wasted $10,500 by spending $200 a week on a night out, food, Ubers, whatever. Then you've also wasted the next 2 days where you've then also sacrificed your fitness and your health, and you've then also sacrificed your work. So you can see it's the snowball effect. We need to zoom out a little bit more with things. Stop thinking so micro, think a little bit more macro with your approach to things. Think consequences, think pros and cons. At what cost is the question you should ask yourself for most things that you are doing consistently. What is the cost of doing this? And that's the same for things that you would arguably believe are a very positive thing as well. But chances are then they'll sway that the cost, the pros outweigh the cons. Therefore, at what cost? It's okay. It's fine. Friends and family. Now, this one, in terms of relationships. And so, a lot of people, I guess, throw around that, as a young bloke, women are a waste of time, da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, what I want to say is women are a distraction, but one woman is not. And what I mean by this is that the right one will not be, because the right one will want you to push, will want you to pursue. If you're stepping into that masculine and you have that purpose, you have that drive, you have that vision, they're going to be okay with you putting in the work, putting in the hours. That's totally fine. But if you're constantly fucking scrolling through Tinder, on Hinge, on Bumble, and you're trying to message chicks and you're on Instagram, you're following this one, you message that one, you like their story, you're fucking doing all this, and you're trying to organize when you can have a one night stand, when you can go for a drink. It's fucking tiring to think about. You're wasting so much time. That's where it's a distraction. Okay, that's not to say that being in a good relationship, having a really strong and supportive partner is a distraction. They're very different things, but chasing and always on the fucking apps and always doing those things, that's a distraction. That's wasting your time. So, like we said, with cutting out friends, be very mindful of who you cut out, because sometimes the people that you cut out, just because they're not aligned perfectly and they're not the 5 people you want to spend the most time with, because that's who you will become, that doesn't mean they're not a really, really valuable person in your life. That doesn't mean they're not going to stand by you when things get hard and shit hits the fan. And so I think you just need to learn to decipher the difference there. And that even may mean you just have to spend a little less time with someone, but they don't have to completely go. But I know the people in my life that are my day ones, the ones that I know I can rely on, and they can rely on me as well. In any circumstance, I'll make it fucking happen to help them and be there. They don't have to want to build the business I want, to have the podcast I want, to do all those things, whatever it may be. As long as they're supportive of that and they still help me, they're not trying to drag me down, that's a different story. But it's okay to be friends with people that don't want to be the same person that you want to be, and you can just chat some shit with, have some fun, relax, kick back, play some golf, that's and be there for each other in those hard times as well. That is still okay. Now, don't play victim. And, someone's going to be like, God, stiff coming from you, Jordan. You've just literally said your life is fairly privileged. You live a very good life. And I do. But at the same time, regardless of the situation you're in, playing victim is not going to help you anyway. So, if you choose to ignore this and you choose to then continue to play victim and be like, oh, it's stiff for you to say, Jordan, da-da-da-da. All right, well, then you're the one that should really listen to this message, because playing victim will get you nowhere, regardless of how much something is out of your control, seeing it as what can I control, what can I do, and what do I do with this situation will always be the most empowering and the most powerful situation you can put yourself in. And so people go through a lot of shit. I know a lot of people that have been through a lot of shit, and the ones that decide to not play victim, take Christina Vathulkas, the lady that I had on my podcast. She's fucking paraplegic. Look at what she's doing with her life. She's not playing victim. She can't use her legs, but look at what the fuck she's doing. She's drifting cars. She's crushing it. She's become like this very well-known person that's really inspiring people. She's living the life that she wants to live. Something happened, and it was her response that to that incident and that accident and her mindset of how she was going to approach that and going to attack that allows her to live the life she lives now because she didn't fucking play victim. So if you're not going to take it from me because of my life this, my life that, take it from her, take it from other people like that. You can do it. Trust me. Now, I want to touch on my favorite little insight, my favorite thought process that I always go through. Be naive, be delusional. And so I know I said before, don't be delusional, but that was in the context of that you're fucking perfect, because you're not. But be delusional with your goals. Be naive with your goals. Because I think the reality is, if you knew exactly what it would take to reach a lot of these big goals in business, in sport and everything, and someone laid out the exact roadmap, you'd be like, holy shit, that's insane. I'm not going to do that. But when you have the naivety and that the ignorance, I guess they say ignorance is bliss, and you don't exactly know what it's going to look like, then it's kind of step by step. You go through that little challenge, you get to the next one. And as the snowball gets, you go through it, the dominoes hit and the challenges get bigger, but so does your ability to deal with challenges. So that fucking domino that's the size of the Eiffel Tower that started as the size of your pinky, if you looked at those two and the differences between the two, you'd be shocked if you're standing down here at the bottom and looking up at the Eiffel Tower. But because you've slowly knocked other challenges that have built you to this, you're like, actually, that's not so bad after all. So be naive, be delusional. And with that, I want to put on and put out there my naive, my delusional quote unquote goal. And that is my business, the business that I'm building. I want it to be the Apple of fitness. I want to solve so many problems. I want it to be the place that people go when they have health and fitness issues, whatever that may be. Variety of products, services, everything. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to start with everything. We start with one, we fucking crush, and then we expand from there. But that's my naive goal. Someone will be like, oh, look at your competition. Look at this, look at that. I'm like, thank you. Appreciate your support. Really do. I'm going to make it happen. Simple as that. That's my mindset. So take it from me. Find your naive goal. Find your delusional goal. And don't back down. Be a dog. Go for it. Chase it. Hustle. Because you actually probably can make it. You look at the most successful people in the world. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Do not hold people on a pedestal. Take inspiration from people, but do not hold them on a pedestal. They have just done more reps and just done more time than you to get to where they are. And so, like, I don't know, whether it's Richard Branson, Mark Cuban, LeBron James, Elon Musk, whoever it may be, fucking Joe Rogan, Conor McGregor, whatever. They've just done more reps. They've just done more time. They're still human being at the end of the day. So on the biological level, for the most part, you can fucking do it too. Sure, LeBron, like we said, physical attributes, all those sort of things, but you get the point. Fucking hell, we're rattling. But the point is, if you are the one that goes, oh, but LeBron's the height advantage, I'm like, you're missing the fucking point. The point is, if you do the reps and do the time, you can get to the place where your idols hang out. Like I said, take inspiration, but do not hold them on a pedestal because they are not that much different from you. Sure, maybe your mindset's shit right now. Maybe your ability to push and hustle and pursue challenges and whatever, your discipline, that might be shit. So yeah, they're not you right now, but there's no reason you can't grow into that over time as well. Now, having a purpose is a large part of being a masculine man. And this was a big concept in the Way of the Superior Man book by David Dieter. And so the fact is, but channeling a purpose, having that thing that really drives your life. I cannot explain how awesome it is. And I'm so grateful that I have managed to, quote unquote, find that at the age of 24. But it took a lot of trial and error. And I think that's where a lot of people could try and find their purpose a little bit better. It's not that you sit there one day and you fucking got your dick in your left hand and then bang, that's my purpose. That's what I'm going to do. No, that's not how it works. But for me, it was I tried a lot of things. I didn't like that, kind of like that. And then I came back to fitness again. And I was like, now I was probably looking for the silver bullet, the shiny object, the $1 million straight away. So I went and did drop shipping. Fuck, that was shit because, I don't know, my morals and my values just said, why would I sell a fidget spinner or some wanky product that I don't see brings much value to the world? Maybe you want to do that, sure, make money, make a living, survive, do all that. That's cool, but that's not what I want to do. I couldn't sleep with that thought that I knew I could do something much greater and much bigger for humanity, I guess, as well at the same time, because that's the thing. We're trying to bring benefit to the world through the pursuit of living. It's very easy to just get very selfish and do what's best for us, but are we going to help other people on the way? That's where the real power is. That's where the real honor is as well. So then I learned a lot of skills about how to set up a Shopify store, a website, Stripe accounts, all those sort of things. But it wasn't quite for me. So I came back to fitness, and then look at this. I'm building a nutrition app. I've got a podcast. I still post my fitness stuff. I'm still a personal trainer. And so I'm on that pursuit of mastery in that industry, in that niche, and what I want to build. And funnily enough, the skills that I learned through Shopify and Stripe and everything, I'm now using through the website, through the app, and everything that I'm doing today. So you can see those things cycle back around. They may seem a waste at the time, but nothing's ever a waste because it's somewhere back there stored in aisle fucking 7069 in your brain. And so you can always pull that out subconsciously when you need to do said task. So continue to chase that. But the reason why it's so good for the masculine energy is that you're driven. When things get fucking hard, like I just cannot put into words. Just yesterday, last night, we're having a little bit of issues with trademarking and things like that. And honestly, I was just like, I just want to fucking punch a wall. Probably just want to cry. Probably just want to scream and just go for a 10K run, even though I hate running. But that's business. But because I have that underlying purpose and I know where I'm heading, I know what's pulling me, I guess, I got through that. And then today, start to resolve some of the issues, and I came to terms with what it may mean, what we may have to do, to try and resolve that, maybe change name, whatever it is. But in that moment, I really sat with those feelings. I let myself feel them, feel the anger, feel that, whatever. And then today I woke up quite refreshed, even though the fucking thing wasn't resolved still, but I knew what the purpose was, and I reminded myself, it's what I can control. It's what I do now. It's not what has already happened. So I move forward. And so that's really, really, really helpful. And so when you're looking for this purpose and you're finding it, I think the concept of Ikigai is a Japanese concept. Really, really powerful. I'll slightly butcher it, but really you're looking at a very complex Venn diagram where you've got all these overlapping factors. And so you've got what the world needs, what you enjoy, what you can make money from, and all these other factors that kind of come together. And that becomes your Ikigai. That becomes your purpose. That becomes what you do for a career, for a living, for a lifestyle. And so for me, I was really happy because I was like, what does the world need? Well, we're having a massive fucking issue with obesity and health, especially in the Western world, where we're over-consuming, the ability to get things so easily. And so the world definitely needs this. Can you make money from this? Yes, people have proven that before, because money is a tool. It's a very important one. You need it to fucking survive for your own family, for yourself, but also the more you have, the more leverage you have, the more you can actually help the world and return it, as well as, of course, have a nice, enjoyable life and enjoy some materialistic items. That's also okay. Then I went, does this bring me fulfillment? Do I enjoy it? Fuck yeah. I've been doing fitness since I can remember, since I was born, and I love helping people. I love being a leader. I love being a coach, a mentor, and whatever it may be. And so to me, combining that all together, and then I did have those skills as well because of the personal training. I'm a nutritionist and all these things. So my background, it all came together that this was just the right thing for me. And this may not stay the same forever, and it may slightly shift and change, but right now I don't see anything else coming. I see that's my purpose and that's where I'm going. So if you haven't read the book Ikigai, highly recommend reading that one as well. So now we've got, we're up to 3 books that you can read. We've got Way as Superior Man, Ikigai, and The Daily Stoic so far. Now, the reality of business is it's a lot fucking harder than people on Instagram are going to tell you. People on Instagram will have you believe that you sit by the pool sipping fucking margaritas and do a couple of emails and then there's, $1 million a day. Doesn't quite work like that. Look, sure, maybe some people are doing something along those lines, whatever, but there's a lot of people bullshitting out there. Like, business will push you to your fucking max. Business will be on your mind 24/7, and it makes it very, very hard to sleep at nighttime because your head hits the pillow. You're trying to resolve problems. You're trying to think ahead. And somehow, just all that chaos, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really do enjoy it. But you have to ask yourself, is that something you want? Because business is definitely not for everyone. And it's also probably likely, well, it will be more expensive than you expect it to be. But you have to spend money to make money. It's an old adage. Everyone knows it. It's kind of is what it is. So if you're not willing to do that, go through those things, then maybe business is not for you. And it's not for everyone, but business is not for everyone, not because of the skills you have, but because of the mindset you have. Now, that's something that may change, but you have to have the ability to endure a lot of shit and endure a lot of unknown, a lot of risk, and all these other things like we've just mentioned there. On the flip side of that, I'd argue that still a 9 to 5, you have to endure a lot of that still. Not as much, because otherwise, the return would be greater from a 9 to 5 as well than it would be from building an exponentially large business. But there's still the unknown. Sure, you have a job, but that could disappear. You could get fired. Maybe that role gets made redundant. Maybe AI takes over your role. Who knows? That could happen. That definitely is a big thing that could be happening. It is happening and will continue to happen in the near future. So there's still a lot of unknown there, but once again, the risk and the sleepless nights, at least with a 9 to 5 for a lot of jobs, you clock out. You don't have to worry too much about it after. That's not all of them. Like one of my PT clients, he's a fucking accountant. The dude doesn't seem to stop. He works for another company, but he works massive days. I'm just like, dude, man, he's already putting in the work. He's working on a Saturday still as well for someone else, and so I think, the effort and what it takes, maybe some people have more of it in them than they actually realize as well. But it's definitely not, it's nothing to do with the people that don't have the skills, because the skills will be developed, and I don't fucking have most of the skills I'm going to need to get to where I want to go, but I'll continue to develop them over time. It's more the mindset, and my mindset, no one's stopping me. It's locked in. We're ready to go. And so another thing on the online, the business reality, is be careful of people on the internet selling business courses, just selling courses in general. You got to be really, really careful. Are they a reputable source? Have they actually done the thing, or are they just saying they did the thing? Because a lot of these people selling courses make more money from selling you the course than they do from the fucking business that they say they know how to run, or whatever it may be. And so it's like a business coach. If someone's a business coach and they've never had a successful business, well, then at some point they have lied to someone about the success that they've had in business, or the success that they've had helping others in business. And they're the same people that will say, don't take advice from people that haven't done it before. And it's like, yeah, well, you haven't fucking done it before, but you're selling people a course. And so stop fucking lying to people. It's really, it just grinds my gears. There's a lot of people out there that are doing it. And if you're a business coach that's never had a successful business before, that's an interesting topic. It's kind of like a PT that's never lifted a weight before. It's going to be a little bit hard for you to teach people how to lift in the gym if you've never fucking been to the gym. That could get very interesting. I'm not saying that person has to be the world's best at it, because Usain Bolt's coach wasn't faster than him, but there has to be some skin in the game, and you have to kind of know what you're doing. So don't be misled by these people or by the fake lifestyles of these influencers as well. There's plenty of influencers that are doing great things. There's plenty of them that are working really, really hard and putting in the work, but there's also plenty that are selling you some bullshit about whether that's fitness, business, whatever, so be aware. Now, choosing whether you want to go into business or not, I think also depends on what you want your life to look like. So some people are completely content with the 9 to 5 lifestyle. There's no plan of being able to sell a business and at 45 and then retire young or whatever it may be. Some people are content with that. And so I think whatever you choose to do, whatever you choose to pursue, ask at what cost. If you are content with the long term of that cost, not the short term, think macro, zoom out, not the micro, then cool, no worries. You do you, and no judgment to be had. It's when people choose that and they didn't really think long enough term, then they start to complain about that. It's like, well, you made that decision. You have to own that decision. It's not too late to change. You still can change. But if in the first place we thought about things a little bit more long term, you would probably find yourself making some better decisions in and around that as well. Now, before people start out in business, another book, we're up to book number 4, Blue Ocean Strategy. I first heard this from Patrick Bet-David on his podcast. He's an absolute beast. And so this was a really, really groundbreaking book for me when it comes to finding your market. And so what they talk about is that the red ocean is where everyone else is playing. And so you need to create the blue ocean, which is the new market. And that can come from how you brand things. Richard Turner, who I had on the podcast, did this with Zen Energy. So they, rather than calling it like a solar panel, I may be slightly butchering this, rather than calling it like Zen Solar or Zen Electricity or whatever, it was Zen Home Energy Solutions. Very specific. It was a new market. Now, these days, very normal, very common, but at the time, that was the blue ocean. And then so you want to continually reiterate this blue ocean strategy as your business goes on as well. Now, we're going to start to wrap things up a little bit here, but a recent one that a concept that I talked about with Dr. Tim Sharp in a podcast with him was about, we talked about the world issues and how we can easily get swallowed in the world around us. So social media, the news, they're showing us, we see everything. Like it's the phrase I said earlier, ignorance is bliss, is almost impossible now because it's not about being ignorant to an issue because we see it or we're bombarded with it. It's now about making the decision whether I want to choose to dive into that and let that be a part of my life and take that on board and have the mental capacity for that issue, for that global event, for that, even if it's a closer event to home, whatever it may be. Do I want to choose to let that be something that I'm affected by? And this is where he came to the conclusion, do what you can, accept what you can't, and be wise enough to know the difference. So there's a lot of bad shit that happens in the world, and a lot of it you can't do something about. Some things you can, but like you said, it's being able to know the difference. So if you overcare, overstress, well, then you start worrying about the external world that you can't fucking control, and you forget to do something about the world that you live in right now and the world that you do have control over. And that is now becoming a major, major distraction, and where a lot of people are not getting much done because you're so distracted by the world events around you that you can't fucking do anything about, that you forget to do the things in your life that you need to fucking do. So be very mindful of that. I'll say it again. Do what you can, accept what you can't, and be wise enough to know the difference, whether that's world issues, whether that's with people that you're close to, can I actually help this person, or do they want my help, or whatever it may be. It might be in your local area, it might be in your state, your country, or global. Anything, ask that question. Now, if you do everything we've talked about here, you focus on growth, you remove bad relationships, you increase high quality relationships, you get out of the job that makes you miserable, you start to try and pursue your purpose or find your purpose by trying a load of things. You take care of your body, you build that confidence through that way, whether it's gym, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's running, whether it's social sport, whether it's fucking a bit of yoga, whatever it is, doing something to take care of your body. And you get outside, you get some sun, you get some fresh air, you eat good food. Chances are you're going to be very fulfilled on no matter what journey you're on. So I talked about this with Dr. Tim Shark. We talked about depression. We talked about anxiety. And he failed to believe that through the study, through the research that he has seen out there, and through his massive amount of anecdotal experience, is that majority of the time, depression and anxiety, it's not genetic. It's down to lifestyle or psychosocial factors. things that you can change, in other words. And now someone might be like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. I have depression, whatever. Maybe some people do, but also what I want us to step out and try and see is that maybe that's just a phase of your life. Maybe that's a period. If we say that's the way I am, that's who I am, it's like weight loss. If you say I'm fat, my genetics do not allow me to lose weight, well, that's not very empowering. Whereas if you say I'm fat, I have weight to lose, I can do something about it. That doesn't mean it will be easy, but I can. Now that's very empowering because you can improve yourself. Okay, that back to the whole point of you're not perfect, but you can do something about it. It's very, very, very empowering to be in that position. So focus on these things. Now, look, who am I to say? I'm 24, and all of this is just me splurting out, speaking from experience, speaking and regurgitating some of the things that I've met, some of the things that I've spoken about with my 30 plus guests now on the podcast. And might I say, some of those guests are fucking incredible. All the guests are incredible. But some of these people have achieved massive things and they've had skin in the game for a long time. I've had Major League Baseballers, professional soccer players. I've had millionaires. I've had people that have met with hundreds of billionaires. We've had property investors. We've had psychologists, health experts, men's health, women's health, you name it. And this is an accumulation of a lot of that information. I'm regurgitating some of it, but then I'm also just tapping into my own anecdotal experience in my life as to what I've experienced, especially from the ages of 18 to 24, to try and help people in a very similar window of their life. That doesn't have to be a similar age window. It's just a similar window of time of what you're going through and the challenges you are facing. And just to understand that if you keep doing these things, you keep pushing, you keep pursuing, you'll be okay. We're all in this together. Work hard, be naive, be delusional, take care of your body, take care of your health, build yourself into the person that your dream partner would want to be with, surround yourself with great people, and life's going to be pretty good. It doesn't mean there won't be some curveballs, but you'll get through it if you approach it just like this. Now, if you haven't already, obviously, please chuck us a little subscribe there. Check us a follow across on the socials. And I'll see you in the next one.